Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a few moments as people enter the webinar. And it looks like our webinar numbers have stabilized. It looks like everyone's in the room. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar to discuss instructional continuity plans. Our plan today is to provide an update on the requirements in Senate Bill 153 from the statutes of 2024 that require local educational agencies to develop instructional continuity plans, or ICPs, as part of their comprehensive school safety plans. These plans, or ICPs, should be designed to provide support and continuity of instruction in the event of an emergency or natural disaster. Such continuity support touches on so many different people with different roles and responsibilities. We've assembled a great team here at the department with our related expertise to put together the guidance we're going to go over today. Today's webinar draws from and coincides with newly posted guidance on the CDE website to support LEA's draft ICPs and include them in their school safety plans by July 1st of 2025. Today, we'll provide an overview of the new requirements and other suggestions for where to begin. These will include practical considerations to begin organizing an approach, some potential starting points to use, such as models, and recommended practices to create a comprehensive plan. We'll touch on some additional resources for safety plans that might support aspects of an ICP, including resources from the department and partners in the field. And finally, we'll discuss the role that you send.
And I see that Mike is having some technical difficulties. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, let me welcome you to this webinar. I'm Cheryl Cotton, Deputy Superintendent of the Instruction Measurement Administration Branch at the California Department of Education. Thank you all for participating today as we discuss the new instructional continuity plan requirements for local educational agencies, how the plans, or our ICPs, will enhance existing comprehensive school safety plans, and the role that ICPs play during and after an emergency event or natural disaster. Schools, districts, and county offices share responsibilities and play distinct roles in the school safety planning and implementation processes. Legislative updates in Senate Bill 153 mandating the inclusion of ICPs also required the CDE to provide guidance to support the development of these plans. The guidance, which posted on March 1st, brings together information from various CDE divisions and provides a wealth of expertise to support developing these plans. As we share aspects of this guidance, we will share how California districts and counties have responded to emergencies and natural disasters. We know that no two disruptions are the same. We hope that sharing the ways others have responded to disruptions, what they've learned in the wake of natural disasters or emergencies, can help model effective local decisions around ICPs. For some of us, a natural disaster or local emergency might upend our collective livelihoods, and we want to help ensure your students can access the mental health, emotional, physical, and instructional support they need to be successful. Our staff will share a list of best practices for key staff to consider when developing an ICP. We'll also discuss matters of compliance, audits, and how the ICP affects the LEA's request for allowance of attendance due to emergency conditions. And with that, I will pass it to Tom Herman. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Senate Bill 153, Section 9, states that beginning July 1, 2025, an instructional continuity plan to establish communication with pupils and their families and provide instruction to pupils when in-person instruction is disrupted due to an emergency. The ICP must be included in LEA's Comprehensive School Safety Plan by July 1, 2025. Next, I'll introduce the two components in the law, both of which will be discussed in greater detail later in the presentation. The law outlines two parameters, noting first that the plan shall include 1. Procedures for pupil engagement as soon as practicable, and no later than 5 calendar days following the emergency. Procedures shall be designed to establish two-way communication with pupils and their families and identify and provide supports for pupils' social, emotional, mental health, and academic needs. Next. The second requirement requires the plan to provide access to in-person instruction or remote instruction aligned with statutory and local policies for independent study, sections 51747 and 51749.5 in the California Education Code, as soon as practicable, but no later than 10 instructional days following the emergency. The plan may include support to pupils and families to enroll in or be temporarily reassigned to another school district, county office of education, or charter school. And again, the law calls out local educational agencies to develop a plan that strives to meet instructional standards that are at least equivalent to those applicable to independent study programs. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Bentley, Administrator in the Curriculum Frameworks and Instructional Resources Division, to discuss some practical considerations for an ICP.
Thank you, Dr. Herman. So as was mentioned, teacher, student, and family familiarity with independent study is one practical consideration for approaching the development of an ICP. Knowing your local, county, and school district policies will help to determine how feasible a pivot to independent study through remote instruction is in the current design you have on campus now. Another consideration is an LEA's current method for communicating with pupils and families. How will those existing communication methods and pathways be used in various emergency situations or natural disasters? How will families be contacted? How might an emergency with a power or network outage impact your ability to communicate with students and families? Development of the plan should also consider, when feasible, timetables for how and when students will receive information from teachers related to assignments, instruction, and assessment. The plan might account for whether pupils currently access assignments and resources online. Do all pupils have access to devices? Things like that. And finally, the plan should also consider whether it's feasible to create contingency plans and partnerships with neighboring LEAs. Since this requirement is new, a model for this kind of instructional continuity plan called for in the legislation does not currently exist. But that does not mean that there aren't useful examples available to provide an idea for how to begin developing your ICP. District-wide and school site learning continuity plans drafted during COVID-19 pandemic include important information for ensuring all students can access instruction. The guidance page on the CDE webpage includes links to some of these continuity plans for reference. We are also grateful to have access to the learning continuity plan developed by the staff in the La Cañada Unified School District during the Eaton fire this past January. A link to La Cañada's ICP can be found on the same CDE guidance webpage. The guidance also includes a list of best practices for your consideration, and I'll go over some of these, starting with communication. So as a site, define communication protocols for families, students, and staff, and faculty, including how the information will be made available and with what frequency. Your ICP should also account for technology. Solidify and strengthen technology readiness for educators and students to support a pivot from in-person to remote learning through independent study. Provide support throughout the school year so students and families are comfortable with all platforms. Create digital backpacks to bundle necessary digital resources like Canva, Google Classroom. There are a lot of learning management platforms for pupils to access if the schools are closed. Stockpile extra devices that can be shared if technology is damaged or destroyed during an emergency. Prepare Wi-Fi hotspots that can be deployed. Those are just some of the guidance that exists on the website. And because this is about instructional continuity, the plan should also reflect an understanding of what's possible with regard to instruction and assessment. Your plan should provide flexibility and ensure that existing curriculum content can be accessed both in person and online. Some examples are prioritizing essential learning and making standards-aligned learning objectives achievable. Utilize California's digital learning integration and standards guidance, which is on the CDE webpage, to build educator and system capacity and ensure effective implementation of technology to support all student learning. Think about using screening tools to monitor student progress. Beginning the 2025-26 school year and annually thereafter, LEAs shall screen students in kindergarten and grades 1 and 2 for risk of reading difficulties using instruments approved by your governing board. This is something to consider in your ICP. Are teachers checking for understanding and using strategies for formative assessment? Are they defining applicable, achievable goals that take students' unique circumstances into consideration? We suggest offering additional academic support when possible through tutoring, check-ins, or virtual office hours. Your plan should support continuity of instruction in equitable, accessible, and inclusive ways. Specify how all students, including those with disabilities, those experiencing homelessness, foster youth, or English learner students, will have equal access to instructional resources during a natural disaster or emergency. Provide and maintain all accommodations and individualized education plans for students who need them, and ensure the ICP can meet the needs of diverse learners. The CDE provides guidance to support special education students with remote learning, which is also linked on the ICP guidance page. We suggest reviewing the CDE English Learner Independent Study Frequently Asked Questions page for information and considerations regarding multilingual students participating in an independent study program. Align the plan with guidance in California's English Learner Roadmap. Specifically, Principle 1, Assets-Oriented and Needs-Responsive Schools, to ensure the plan is responsive to different EL students' strengths, needs, and identities, and supports the socio-emotional health and development of English learners. We also suggest reviewing Principle 4 of the roadmap, alignment and articulation within and across systems, to ensure instructional continuity for multilingual students reflects a coherent set of practices and pathways to support skills, languages, literacy, and knowledge needed to meet their needs. The plan should also include some element of professional learning, so educators receive regular training on the tools, platforms, and strategies necessary if an LEA must pivot to remote instruction and assessment through independent study. We suggest emphasizing pedagogies that support remote and hybrid learning environments and offer professional development to support virtual classroom management. The California Educators Together platform, developed through a collaboration between CDE and California's Dedicated to Education Foundation, offers free, high-quality resources and relevant professional learning and lesson plans to support that teaching and learning. Additionally, the San Diego County Office of Education has designed units in each content area that offer essential K-12 learning. The units integrate content, provide flexibility and choice, and can be accessed and shared for free. San Diego County Office of Ed staff also offer virtual professional learning for each grade level and span. Next slide, please. The plan should also seek to support well-being and draw on the comprehensive school safety plan guidelines aligned with Ed Code section 32282.1A to provide access to physical and mental health professionals and community intervention professionals, including those who speak with languages other than English. Resources created by the National Association of School Psychologists include evidence-based initiatives which create safe and supportive learning environments to ensure students have access to supports they need to be successful. Plan to supply power for and restock necessary medicines and locate alternative sources of electricity in the event of outages. We know there are a number of additional support services that students should have even if instruction is disrupted. Your plan should seek to maintain continuity of other support services, including special education, counseling, after-school programs, and access to kitchens and food services, adapting these services to the online or hybrid environment when necessary and possible. The National Center for Homeless Education provides information to support disaster preparation and response for students who are experiencing homelessness. In Lessons from Real Life, McKinney-Vento liaisons share their experiences with disaster response, as well as insights to support recovery for displaced students. The CDE provides disaster guidance for child nutrition programs as well. Food Research and Action Center, a nonprofit seeking to improve the nutrition, health, and well-being of people struggling against poverty-related hunger, also offers a guide to federal nutrition programs during disasters. All of these resources are available on the CDE guidance webpage for ICPs. On a previous slide, I mentioned professional learning, highlighting what educators can do to ready themselves for an emergency or natural disaster. Site-based collaboration goes beyond just professional learning as it seeks to involve administrators, faculty, information technology staff, students, and parents in the development and implementation of the ICP. Regularly review and update the plan based on feedback and lessons learned. Finally, the plan should seek to outline conditions for how and when to return to site-based learning. On the CDE guidance document, you will see we've included an excerpt from the continuity plan shared by the Pasadena Unified School District. And now please welcome Carrie Ferrara, Education Programs Consultant in the School Fiscal Services Division.
Thank you. This slide highlights just a few of the resources that can support updating a CSSP and developing an ICP. It's by no means an exhaustive list. All of the resources I mentioned here are discussed and linked on the ICP guidance webpage. The CDE provides guidance in the form of best practices for reviewing and approving school safety plans, which may be useful when adding an ICP. The page details the components of the CSSP stipulated in EC sections 32280 through 32289.5. A compliance tool is also available to assist schools in creating or modifying a CSSP. CDE also operates a disaster and emergency resources page where you can find links to resources for LEAs dealing with emergency mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery associated with natural disasters and emergency situations. LEAs under an evacuation order may be providing the locations of emergency shelters to students and staff per EC section 32282. A CSP plan of action, including an ICP communication protocol, that can help define the instructional continuity options for that list of displaced people. Additionally, CDE provides information on guidance, grants, training, and resources for LEAs mitigating school disaster and emergency management connected to natural disasters and emergency hazards. The California County Superintendent's Technology Services Committee provides disaster recovery resources, which include templates, guides, and support designed to help kindergarten through grade 12 technology departments create and implement safety protocols and emergency preparedness and response. Our partners in the Los Angeles Unified School District Integrated School Safe Plan Resources host a webpage that allows district schools to use local and federal guidance to create comprehensive school safety plans. It can be useful to view this resource to understand how a district or a county office can support the schools it serves. And the U.S. Department of Education Natural Disaster Support Guidance page includes resources for restoring the teaching and the learning environment. Next, Dean Patterson, administrator in the School Fiscal Services Division, will discuss ICP compliance and the Form J13A.
As LEAs work towards including a compliant instructional continuity plan in their comprehensive school safety plan, this timeline may be helpful. In order to facilitate the instructional continuity plan development process, CDE recently posted guidance concerning instructional continuity plan best practices. LEAs are required to have a comprehensive school safety plan that includes an instructional continuity plan by July 1st, 2025. Verification for instructional continuity plan compliance will be part of an LEA's annual audit starting in 2025-26. As Form J13A requests for events occurring beginning in fiscal year 2026-27 must be submitted with an instructional continuity plan. In the case of emergencies, statute provides authority for a process for the state superintendent of public instruction to approve a waiver of the instructional time requirements in the event of school closures and a waiver for material decreases in average daily attendance. The stated purpose of this process is to ensure that LEAs receive the same apportionment as they would have received had the unforeseen event not occurred. This process is known as the Form J13A process. If the CDE approves a Form J13A for a school closure, the LEA is authorized to maintain school for less than the required instructional days and minutes without being assigned a fiscal penalty to their LCFF funding. When an LEA closes due to an emergency, the LEA does not lose funding. Average daily attendance is still calculated as days attended divided by days taught. An approved Form J13A provides LEAs with a waiver of the instructional time requirements. While not all-inclusive, this table to the right shows both common approvable and disapprovable events. If an LEA experiences an emergency event that causes a school closure or material decrease in attendance in fiscal year 2026, 27, and future years, the LEA can submit a Form J13A and certify that they have an instructional continuity plan. This certification requirement applies to all LEA types, school districts, COEs, and charter schools. LEAs must certify that they followed their approved instructional continuity plan during emergency events. Specifically, LEAs need to confirm that they communicated with families and students within 5 calendar days of the emergency. This could include notifying them about the disruption, explaining instructional plans, or providing resources for support. LEAs must also confirm that they provided in-person instruction, remote instruction, or enrollment in another LEA to all students within 10 instructional days. If an LEA couldn't meet these timelines, they must detail the circumstances that prevented them from doing so. They also need to describe any engagement and instruction they were able to provide during that time. The goal is to ensure that students continue to receive access to education and support even during emergencies. These new requirements highlight the importance of having a well-prepared instructional continuity plan and the ability to adapt quickly when unexpected events occur. For emergency events occurring on or after July 1st, 2026, if an LEA fails to certify it has met the conditions above, CDE may not approve a Form J13A request. The requirement to include the certification form for independent study and a certified independent study plan with Form J13A submissions remains in effect until June 30th, 2026. More information about the Form J13A can be found on our Form J13A webpage. Now I'd like to welcome back Dr. Torres to close things out. Dr. Torres?
Thank you so much, Dean, and thank you, team, for all of the amazing information shared here today. Very, very important. As a reminder, all of the information that we've shared today is available on our CDE Instructional Continuity Plan Guidance webpage. The slide before you right now includes that URL. It's www.cde.ca.gov/re/or/icpguidance.asp. So as LEAs create and develop their ICPs and the plans become part of their comprehensive school safety plans, certain aspects of the guidance page that we have here will evolve. In fact, we're going to take many of the questions that you've been asking here during today's webinar in the question and answer section and update or create a frequently asked questions page. The wealth of information shared by LEAs working to meet this requirement will, no doubt, influence how we at the department conceive of the topics that we've covered today. Moving on to the next slide, there are a few questions that I'd like to reiterate here. This webinar is being recorded, and a posting of the recording will be made onto our webpage, and we will send out a notification through our curriculum and instruction listserv when that is posted. If you're interested in getting that notification, please sign up for our listserv updates, which is at the bottom here. Send a blank email to join-CFIR updates at mlist.cde.ca.gov. Other questions included whether or not there's going to be a template provided to create an instructional continuity plan. And so just because an instructional continuity plan can be as diverse as the students in school districts across the state, we're not going to be providing a template for you. That way it can, the ICP can be generated out of the specific needs of that local educational agency. But our guidance page does include and highlights a few templates from the previous learning continuity plans of the COVID days, noting that they can be used to inform the development of a plan. Additionally, there's tools for supporting updates and compliance of the comprehensive school safety plans, and those are currently being updated to include compliance related to the instructional continuity plan. Those are just a couple of highlights from some of the questions. If we did not answer a question for you that you have asked here during this webinar, again, we're creating a frequently asked questions page. If you have a specific question about your LEA's situation, please send an email to cfird@cde.ca.gov, and we'll carefully take the time to review the specific scenario that you're describing and talking about, and then provide you with the best response possible. I think those are all the highlights right now. I see Deputy Superintendent Cotton is here to close us out.
Thank you, Dr. Torres. It's my hope that you found this session informative and that you'll consult the newly posted guidance as you and your colleagues develop your ICPs. We know leaders at schools, districts, county offices, and charter schools work with teams to meet the unique needs of the local educational landscape. As you continue to strive for safety and stability and plan instructional continuity for your students, families, and staff, if and when disaster strikes, please know that Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, and the department staff under his leadership are here to support you. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon.